You're listening to Plants and Politics with Gina Bonanno-Lemos. If you're ready to hear the truth about both sides of the aisle, what's really going on in America, and how big money interests prevent change to keep you sick, broke, and desperate, then play on. Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. This is Gina, and I have more breaking news. This is a crazy day. So on Tuesday of this week, the Senate Intelligence Committee voted to finalize its report on Russia's efforts to interfere in the 2016 election. So it's 4 years out almost. And that still hasn't been finalized. So we're awaiting that report. They've vowed to create a redacted version so that they can make it public. And then in recent days, senators on the same Intel committee have hinted at what's contained in reports that they're receiving about interference in this year's election. So Senator Chris Murphy in particular had said, quote, "In the briefings that I've received, there's no ambiguity about what the Russians' intention is, and there's no ambiguity about what narratives they are pushing. And there's no ambiguity about the people they are using to push them." So, insinuation that there were people that were going to be named, and it wasn't going to be good. So today, just recently, within the last hour or so, California Congressman Eric Swalwell just dropped a bombshell about Russia's intervention into this year's election. On MSNBC, Swalwell alleged that Russia is not only attempting to harm Joe Biden in the election, but they're disseminating false information about him via elected senators, including Lindsey Graham and Ron Johnson. Take a look at what he told Nicole Wallace.
Russia has a capability, a scope, an intent, and a prior, as you would say in criminal law. They did this before. That is not articulated by those other countries. They have a preference for Donald Trump to be reelected, as is described in the statement, and they have a preference to use their resources to denigrate Joe Biden. And they are doing it through the U.S. Senate, laundering this information by this individual who has publicly said that he is sending materials to Ron Johnson and Lindsey Graham so that they can try and tear down Joe Biden. The members of the U.S. Senate are acting as Russian launderers of this information to bring down a U.S. candidate. That's reprehensible. It should stop.
So yeah, shocking allegations. I doubt, being an attorney, that he would make those allegations unless he knew damn well that he was correct and this was 100% legitimate. And it's not difficult to believe. Given Lindsey Graham's complete 180 on Donald Trump over the last few years, and the fact that Ron Johnson was one of several Republican lawmakers who spent 4th of July visiting the Kremlin rather than celebrating it with Americans. And then he came back and he was repeating Russian talking points about how they had no reason to try and change the outcome of the election. So the intelligence community has also assessed that China and Iran are interested in disrupting the November election themselves, but that they have alternative goals. So the top election security official for the Intel community, a man by the name of William Evanina, I believe is how you pronounce his name, made the following statements. Quote, "We assess that Russia is using a range of measures to primarily denigrate former Vice President Biden and what it sees as an anti-Russia establishment. Pro-Russia Ukrainian parliamentarian Andrei Durkak, I might be butchering that name, is spreading claims about corruption, including through publicizing leaked phone calls to undermine former Vice President Biden's candidacy and the Democratic Party. Some Kremlin-linked actors are also seeking to boost President Trump's candidacy on social media and Russian television. He also said that China would, quote, prefer that Trump lose and that China is, quote, extending its influence efforts. And in regard to Iran, Ebanina said they are seeking to, quote, undermine U.S. democratic institutions, President Trump, and to divide the country. This is what happens. We did nothing. Russia paid no price whatsoever, really. In fact, the Trump administration lifted sanctions. Mitch McConnell helped to lift sanctions so he could get a Russian-backed company from a known Russian mobster to invest in his community, to invest in his state, and build a company there. So they've benefited. Why would they stop? There have been no consequences for anything they did in 2016. So of course they're going to continue. But on top of that, you have other countries who see this and go, well, let me throw my hat in the ring. So I have so many mixed emotions about this because here's the thing. Nothing in this statement from the Intel community official says that what Russia is putting out there about Joe Biden is false. He just said that they are spreading claims about corruption, including through publicizing leaked phone calls. Well, are they true or are they not? If they're true, I want to hear about them. People may not like to hear me say that, but I want to know the truth about our elected officials or potential elected officials. I don't like that it's coming from Russia, but I do want to know if people are corrupt. Are these just claims? Are they manipulating the phone calls and the audio to make it sound like they're corrupt? I mean, that's the problem nowadays. We have no idea. They have these deep fake videos that look real, so it's very easy to fake audio. And yeah, I mean, I said back in 2016 that the right really shouldn't, if they don't care about Russia getting involved in our elections and trying to manipulate it, then they probably will have to sit on the sidelines and be quiet if other countries try to help Democrats. And it appears that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it's no big surprise that China would want to help Trump lose and help his opponent. Iran as well. Of course, they don't want Trump in office. You know, we had a nuclear deal in place and it was a good deal. It was the best that we could do at that time. And he destroyed it. So yeah, I would imagine that they would want Biden to win over Trump. Now, what do I think about foreign interference? I don't think any countries should interfere in any other country's elections or political matters, just as I don't think the United States should interfere. I mean, we just tried to pull off a coup in Venezuela, and our government would have you believe that it's because, oh my gosh, you know, the people there are suffering. Yeah, they're suffering, and in part because of sanctions that we put in place. I mean, their government hasn't been great, but they've suffered even more because of us. And then they're trying to get rid of a more left-leaning populist government. They never take this stance. They never try to pull off a coup with a right-wing government. So we do the same kind of stuff. We do even worse. We send people in to try to take over and botch it. So, gosh, there's just so much to unpack and so many angles you could look at this through. But yeah, not happy. People are trying to screw with our election again. And of course, nothing's going to come of it. Nothing's going to happen. hopefully this year people are more on the alert. And just so you guys know, they're not putting up posts that say Biden bad, Trump good. That's not the way they do things. They divide and conquer. They try to turn Bernie supporters against Biden supporters, and they try to turn Warren supporters against Bernie supporters. And they try to get you thinking that the people that should be your allies are actually your enemy, and then you don't want to stand with them, and then it decreases turnout. At least that's one of the tactics. It's not blatant like everybody thinks. And not everything you see online is real. I know that's a shock, but there's a certain percentage of the public out there who, if it aligns with their preconceived notions, they just buy it hook, line, and sinker. And I hate to say it, but older voters are more at risk of this because back when they were growing up, back when they were young, the news pretty much was the news. I mean, it wasn't as manipulated. There weren't corporate interests paying for all of the commercials that you see. So there wasn't that influence, and you could rely on it a little bit more, quite a bit more. Anyway, guys, that is the breaking news now this afternoon. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for listening to Plants and Politics. The only way we can take our country and power back is to spread the truth and build an army. So remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thanks again.